Welcome to part 1 of 2 of In Their Own Words. David graduated with a modified diploma and is continuing his post-secondary education at his local high school's transition program. He has moved from his parents' home and lives in an adult foster care home. Frank is also from rural Northwest Oregon and graduated with a regular high school diploma. In high school, he participated in a work experience program at his school's coffee cart, in addition to his academic coursework. Currently, he is about to complete a specialized 1-year culinary assistant program at a local community college. David and Frank will share their advice, opinions, and experiences on having autism spectrum disorder, comparing and contrasting high school and post-high school life, work experience, independent living, transportation, future hopes and dreams, and their personal lives.
I haven't told any of my coworkers or other students because it's generally assumed. They knew that I was in that class for a reason. However, they kind of assumed by my intelligence that I was higher functioning.
Autism has made growing up a little bit harder because when you're autistic, the way you handle things and the way you think of things, it's not as a normal person would do it. It makes it so a person might see McDonald's and see McDonald's. A person like me who's autistic would see McDonald's and immediately think of clown, hamburger, french fries, and a soft drink. What's changed about my social world now that I'm graduated is, nothing's really changed on that. The way I stay socially connected is whenever I see a person that I know, I'll talk to them, but if I'm just at home, I don't really care to talk on the telephone. I just don't really have a cell phone, so I'm not really all that socially consistent like most people today.
Socially, college is very different than high school. In high school, you have a bunch of kids trying to be adults that don't necessarily know, as I said before, the big dirty secret of adulthood. They don't know that people have no idea what they're doing. They don't know that people are essentially just making it up as they go along in life. And thus they're trying to act like they actually know what direction life is heading. Here in high school, here in college, we've learned that. And thus we've begun to drop our collective facades. We start to let ourselves out more often, rather than trying to mimic what we see, trying to see what teenagers should be on TV. Around here, no one really cares if you're different. Everyone here is a little bit different, in their own special way, or not so special way, considering. I made some pretty good friends here in college. Back in high school, everyone was just kind of clumped up together in little cliques or whatnot. It was kind of hard to get to know them because you had to get to know everyone else, and maybe you didn't want to get to know everyone else. Here, as I said, it's a lot more relaxed, a lot more at ease. People don't necessarily clump up together as much. You can get to know an individual rather personally if you want. Just don't expect them to come to you. You need to take the initiative. You need to go to them. You need to suck it up, walk up to them, and introduce yourself. And afterwards, you need to keep going up to them and asking how their day is and whatnot. Eventually, something will grow. Socially, college life is very different from high school. I find myself much easier to relax around here, much easier to socialize, because in high school, I was always afraid that I was going to be judged because I was different. Here, They really don't care. I'm just seen as another college student, not that kid. In high school, some of the classes I wish that I'd been much more vocal about would have been some of the more fun, quote-unquote, classes. Like, I wish I had taken auto tech. I wish I had kept taking welding, because they have these here. There's also a variety of other classes that continue on from high school to here. I've seen quite a few people from my old school here, and I wish I could have gotten to know them better in high school. Said hello, but that's old grievances.
There are some things that I wish I'd learned before I graduated. I really wish I went into metal works, because I've seen that there's a high demand for welders, and also for the computer industry. I'm going through a transitional program. It's where you go to a class and you learn about how to work and how to fill out applications and all the steps you need to succeed in life.
My parent and I had a dry run. We came over here a few days before we were supposed to head out, and we explored a little bit. We ran out on campus, explored a little bit in the building, got to know some of the superintendents. A dry run can really help you guys out. Some of the most important things I've learned in high school that helped me go to college have been learning to manage my time effectively. Study skills are also very important. Also, quite honestly, just learning to relax a little bit. Because the atmosphere here isn't as, intense as in high school. It's a lot more laid back. You may know a certain teacher that requires you to turn in notes for an actual graded point. College is a bit like that, only you don't turn in notes for points. You need those notes in order to do very well on tests. If you don't have those notes, it could literally mean passing or failing that class you have. The strategies I help in organizing myself is a good notebook. When you write stuff down, it's a lot easier to remember it. Not to mention, it's always good to have a physical reminder with you at most times. It'll get a lot easier to remember stuff if you just write it down.
In the coffee cart, you're a barista and you work on coffee, Italian sodas, ice water, cups of noodles, and blended chocolate milk. And then you have to take orders, you have to clean up the place after you close, and it's a pretty tall order, no pun intended, but it's really helped me out learning how to do a job and working.
Some of the work experience I had in high school helped me out a little bit with this program. Manning the register, bussing dishes, washing tables and dishes, minor preparation of food. Those have all helped out considerably.
Well, some of the challenges you have in the workplace when you're autistic is you have to be more focused than what a person without autism would normally be. Some people with autism have trouble communicating with others, and when you're working, you have to communicate. all the time, and it's pretty challenging.
As much as I didn't necessarily care for this program, I really did learn some very invaluable skills. Most importantly, playing as an actor. You see, think of it as this way. Once you're at home, you're yourself. You can be yourself, you can whine, you can mope, and whatever. But once you're at work, you're an actor on a stage. You're not yourself anymore. You have to play what's written in the script. That means leaving personal stuff at home. I learned that the hard way, and I certainly hope you guys don't have to.
Well, right now, the service I get for helping me live is I have a Social Security money coming in, and that pays for the room and board for the adult foster home that I live in. And of course, I get services from the foster home. The hardest thing about living on my own is basically getting up, because when you get on your own, that's when your life really starts. Your mom's not there to hold your hand and to wake you up out of bed. You have to do it yourself, and that can be a little tough. And then you have to get up, eat breakfast, and then you have to, before you can sit down and watch TV or so, you have to maybe make a few calls and all that. What I'd say are my biggest concerns about living on my own would have to be missing a payment or maybe burning down the building. And then there's that big concern about trying to get to work when I don't have a vehicle. Some of the skills I still need to work on to live on my own would have to be cooking, maybe remembering things I have to call about, like say I'm not going to go to a job because I have a doctor's appointment I have to call. Sometimes I'll forget about that, and it could make for a weighty situation. And also I have a little trouble filling out applications, and when you're 19 and you need a job, that's a skill you need to work on.
Some of you may not have had an official paycheck paid job like me. However, chances are some of you have done some odd jobs around the house or neighborhood for money, and that's just as good. For example, about last week ago, I helped a neighbor move quite a bit of sod from his front yard in order to improve his flower garden. It was hard work. Must have drank at least my body weight in fluids and lost about half of that again in sweat, blood, and tears. Not literally, of course. Got a nasty sunburn from it, and afterwards pretty much felt I was going to die. However, it was incredibly worth it, because not only did I manage to clock in 7 hours of that without complaining, it was also slightly better than minimum wage, $10 an hour. And he also added a bonus for being such a good trooper as well. And that kind of stuff really helps out with your self-confidence and whatnot.
Right now I work at a horse farm. There's a lot of work that has to go on there. I volunteer there. Every once in a while I'll get paid. But it's good, hard work. If you don't have a stomach for it, don't do it. But if you're like me, a regular countrified person, it's the job. If there was one job that I could get, it would probably have to be an actor. I love to act. Of course, I'm not acting right now.
Job-wise, I would become a brewmaster. quite honestly, I haven't been able to pursue as much enjoyable leisure time as I want on going to school. However, I made some pretty good friends here in college. Hanging out with them. It's very enjoyable. Also, personally, I like heading down to the library. The library, more often than not, has a very cohesive expansion of books.
Some of the things that I do when I'm not at school is I gotta do Canon Rebel, and I'm learning how to do some wildlife photography, and I go out hiking. I live right next to a logging site, and I go out hiking out there with the camera, and if there's anything that's interesting to look at, I snap a picture of it. I'm actually doing pretty successful in that category.
I can imagine someday having a relationship. I don't think I'm ready for one just yet, considering the fact that I don't have a car, I don't have my own house, I don't have a steady income, but one day, you all need to remember that. You can't necessarily have a quote-unquote proper relationship without having those three basics. You need your own place, you need your own car, and you need your steady income. Because quite honestly, not a lot of girls or guys find it very attractive if you have no job, you're borrowing your mom's car, and you're still living in your parents' home.
I can imagine at some point in my time I'll be able to have a family and all that. Of course, right now, seeing how I'm just 18, it would not be a good idea. Some of the concerns I have with transportation in the community is, I've seen some of the people on the public transportation, and they're kind of shady characters. So I don't really like using that stuff.
In high school, I never even had to use the Columbia Rider bus. There was always a bus that came by my neighborhood and dropped me off at school. However, with college, they don't do that. They expect you to come to them. And once I learned how to use the bus, it was actually pretty nice. Of course, unless you have some really nice riders with you, no one's going to wake you up if you fall asleep. So watch out for that. Going to the city, just because the TriMet bus has the same number on it doesn't mean it's going in the same direction. You really want to keep an eye on those bus stop information pamphlets or whatever. Once again, I pray that you won't have to learn that the hard way. I can see that I feel very confident about driving. In my teenage years, I kind of took it as a sign, failing the test 5 times in a row, that some unseen force didn't want me behind a ton and a half of metal, plastic, and flammable liquid. However, now that I'm a grown-up and have to take the bus every day, I've learned that maybe, just maybe, it'd be a good idea to try again. In 5 years, I'm hoping to have a good job, just enough to get by a lot. I pay rent, bills, maybe a few luxuries here and there. Of course, I'm hoping later to get that amazing job, but I'm starting off somewhat realistically.
My hopes and dreams from 5 years from now is get a job, get a car, get my own place, and maybe marry a country woman. But who knows? What I hope to be doing when I'm 30 is working in a job, possibly have a car, maybe have my own place, The job that I hope to do by the time I'm 30 is maybe working in construction or on Walmart.
By the time I'm 30, I'm really hoping to have that amazing job in sight. My mom has done a few things that has helped me be more successful in college. She's motivated me. She's helped me out from time to time. My family has pretty much done everything they could, including scrounging up some money for the bus passes and for the tuition.
Some of the things that my parents have done to help me get to where I am right now, they basically said, David, get off your butt, go outside, work. They gave me jobs and I did them till they were done. If I didn't do them till they were done, I didn't get any free time. I had to finish them. Basically, I'm pretty sure that's what most parents are like. Any advice I'd give to a parent with a child that has high-functioning autism is don't give up. Don't give up.
To other individuals that are high-functioning or with Asperger's, I advise this. Focusing skills. They'll really pull through in the long run. Also, learning how to properly study as well. There's going to be quite a bit of that. College life isn't all beer pong and frat parties, especially community college. To all those with case managers and IEPs, you aren't necessarily going to have those here. So they expect you to be an adult, and they expect you to solve problems mostly on your own. And you have to prove that to them. You have to go out there. You have to get what you can from your classes, from your social life, from whatever. And you have to analyze it yourself. Keep the good stuff. Throw out the rubbish.
If there's one piece of advice I'd like to give to kids with high-functioning autism, whatever you do, keep going. It's going to be tough, but you can do tough.
For more information, please visit our website.